Jarrell? Here. Member Espericueta?
Here.
Member Girardi?
Here.
And Member Cornett is absent.
Thank you. And next, the Pledge of Allegiance. If tonight we're going to have Board Member Espericueta will lead us in the pledge.
Stand up. Your right hand in your heart. Let's start. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And tonight we're going to have our board member Girardi will now read the mission statement for us.
All members of Palm Springs Unified School District are united in our commitment to equity. We create deep, meaningful learning opportunities, build professionalism, and engage parents and community to ensure success for all students. All students graduate with the skills, capacity, and confidence needed to succeed in a rapidly changing world.
Thank you. Next, we'd like to observe a moment of silence for Principal Myron Thielmann, who worked for the district for 20 years, retiring in 2000 from Della Lindley Elementary. Thank you. All right, next item, report of closed session items. Clerk Jarrell, are there any closed item items to report?
There are no closed session items to report.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we're going to do the approval of the agenda. We're going to ask to approve the agenda, but we are going to pull item 12A from the agenda tonight. Can I get a motion to approve?
I'll move that.
And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move to public comments. We're going to take email comments, telephonic comments, and then public comments. Just a couple of comments first. All comments are to be directed to the board, be under 3 minutes, and shall be devoid of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during public comments. And per the Brown Act, board members do not respond during public comments. All right, let's start. Clerk Jarrell, have we received any email comments?
Board President and board members, members of the public, we received 3 email comments which have been distributed to the Board of Education and Cabinet electronically earlier today and will be included as part of the record.
Thank you. And do we have any telephonic comments?
Yes, we have one telephonic comment. Hello, Jeff?
Yep.
You have 3 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, board members and everybody watching at home. I'm very glad we're still doing the live streams. It makes it so much easier for the public to participate in the open meetings. My comment to you tonight as we head into this coming school year next week is just to thank you for your work behind the scenes and to also encourage you, our board members and cabinet, and folks listening at home or in the boardroom, to take this opportunity to return not just physically to school in person, but also to revive a lot of the connecting activities that we have spent so much time away from, including our performing arts programs in our middle schools and high schools. There was a wonderful article last week in the Desert Sun about some of the great summer programs that the MTU, Musical Theater University program, in partnership with our district, was able to offer for a couple of weeks this summer. And As I was reading the article about those great opportunities for middle school and high school students to have their first in-person, face-to-face theater opportunities in, gosh, a year and a half, I couldn't help but think about some of our sites, especially at the secondary level, that still have some visual and performing arts offerings that aren't being offered to our students, whether it's a middle school that doesn't have a visual art teacher anymore, or middle schools that no longer have vocal music. Maybe they only have band, or they only have music appreciation, sort of general music in the classroom, and not a structured opportunity for students to sing or dance or act. As we get back to school next week, I want to encourage our leaders to be mindful of the programs that we offer during our curricular school day that can reach so many more students than just one or two programs that are housed at one or two sites in just one or two parts of our district, because there are so many ways that our existing teachers, whether they're elective teachers or other performing arts teachers, can reach so many students with their curricular programs and their 4-credit classes. We definitely have some really cool push-in special
Ms.
programs
Barragan,
or
30
after-school
seconds.
programs, but
30
our
seconds.
ability to reach and really give access to as many students as possible is perhaps hampered because we don't offer a comprehensive variety of programs at all of our schools, whether it's art or certain types of music or dance or theater. We do a lot of great things for the arts in this district, and let's continue to support them and grow them during our curricular school day. Thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to kicking off another school year next week. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we're going to go to public comments. Those who wish to speak, they've already completed a yellow card. If you wish to speak and haven't done that yet, please do this quickly as possible so that we can get you here as well. And again, there's a 3-minute limit, and I think you can see the timer down below. So the first person on here is Carla Paul, I believe it is. Carla Paul from Palm Springs.
Yes, sir.
And you can take the microphone up here at the podium. And we'll have it sanitized in between each individual.
Well, thank you so much. I just came tonight. Palm Springs Unified School District is near and dear to my heart as my son has gone through our schools and had a favorable experience here. So, and I'm a community member still, but I just wanted to come and express my concern and for certain things, critical race theory being one, and the power of the teachers' unions at this point. So that's really all I had to say. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Great. Let me just make sure we have these in order. Okay. Next is Rachel Bree from Palm Springs.
Hi and good evening, board members. My name is Rachel. I grew up in this district, so this is very personal for me. I went to Catherine Finchie, I went to Nellie Kaufman, and also was a Palm Springs High School graduate back in '97. I had the pleasure of enrolling my children in this district. However, I saw the writing on the wall shortly before the pandemic, and I pulled them from the school district. They now go to private school, and not everybody has that opportunity or the means to do that. But there are a lot of parents who are leaving this state because of the mandatory vaccines, also the mandatory masks, and the critical race theory education, and also sexual education indoctrination. It's very disheartening that children as young as kindergarten, 3rd grade, 5th grade are learning these things. And we as parents have to stand up for our kids, pull them out of these schools. Also, any of the teachers, if you just please have the courage to just not be a part of the teachers union. You can not be a part of it and you'll be okay. Also, any of the board members, please just think about sending back the recommendations to the governor, as long as he's still employed. He'll be recalled soon, so, but catch him on the way out. Ask him to not make it mandatory for kids to wear masks. If you're here teaching science, it's not scientific to make kids wear masks. It's also indoctrinated systemic child abuse to make children wear something over their face. If I were to put my hand over my child's mouth, that would be considered child abuse. You have a teacher who now has to tell a student, a 5-year-old, pull this over your nose, pull this over your mouth. It's very disheartening that these teachers have to do that. And also making vaccines mandatory. I know that you don't have a part in the say, but you can do something. You can stand up, because people are going to keep taking their kids out of school. That's all I have to say. I just want you to try to reconsider that and not systemically abuse our children. Thank you.
Okay, next is Annie Rock from Cathedral City.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you can. Good evening. There are many challenges facing our children today, but I'm here tonight to address CRT, or critical race theory. CRT tells our children that society should be divided into groups based on skin color. Our children are then assigned a label of victim or oppressor. This is race-based Marxist ideology, and we know that there are at least 80 million Americans, and that's a very conservative number, who are not buying this social experiment that we're being sold. And CRT is not only violating the Constitution, it violates federal civil rights laws. And we're not about to let radicals take our children back 60 years. We've raised our children not to see skin color, to respect men and women that protect us. And we're not a perfect nation, but this is not going to help unite or solve racism. We have children coming home and telling their parents that their teachers are telling them that police are bad. And they're also questioning their skin color. So they're telling children not to tell their parents. Now, I don't know about you, but the first thing a pedophile tells a child is don't tell anyone. They know it's wrong, and that's why they're lying to children and parents. And we would like honesty. We're not stupid. We're not idiots. We know we live in California, so we have certain things coming down from Sacramento, but we're asking our board to stand up for our kids and parents. We want to tell you, along with Washington, mainstream media, Hollywood, big tech, big money, and big unions, you don't speak for us. We will not let extremists divide us. Race is not epidemic in the United States. We stand united, or we fall if we're divided. And we choose love, not hate. You can't have our kids. We don't want you parenting. We're the parents. We don't want you teaching, we don't want teachers teaching these radical
Pardon me, Ms. Rock,
Thanks.
30 seconds.
Okay, so we just, God bless our kids, and God bless this wonderful country that we love and all the diversity that she offers.
Okay, thank you. Next, from Cathedral City, Julie Keys.
Hi, good evening. Thank you. I feel like I'm at Toastmasters. I'm not prepared. I didn't bring notes or anything. I just am a concerned community member. My kids have completed school. And honestly, I think I'm like most Americans, we just want a peaceful life. We want to work hard. We want to know that everything's working the way that it's supposed to. And I think if there's just this one thing about COVID that has been good for me, it's shaken me awake. I never had time before to pay attention to what's going on the news. Sorry, I'm super nervous. I don't have my notes here. I never paid attention. Like I said, I just assumed everything was going okay, but it's not. It's not. Like the critical race theory, I'm not here to debate that, but I'm here just to ask you guys to do whatever you can to just teach our children that they can do anything. Empower them, equip them, make them know or just give them the ability to tackle anything that life brings to them, regardless of their skin color or regardless of their income level. Like you're there to teach them and to help them find their identity. And really that's what I'm praying for, is just that there is unity, there is this cohesiveness that, wow, you're different than me, and they're different than us, and how can we be awesome together? Because that's what makes this country amazing, is because we're so different. I'm asking you to teach our children how to use the skills they've been given. Don't tell them how to think. Don't tell them you should feel like a victim. You should feel bad because you're more privileged. We can't have Bibles in this school, we can't pray in this school, but this other belief system is okay, and that doesn't make any sense to me. So next time I'll be more prepared. Sorry if I rambled. Just hear our hearts. Like more and more of us are waking up because this isn't right. What's happening right now, the things that are being introduced to these young children isn't right. It's too much for them. It's too much. They can't carry that information right now. Like they're being asked to make decisions about things that they're like, what? Wait, who do I identify with? What gender do I identify? They can't answer that question yet. Teach them how to do math. Teach them how to read. Teach them how to act or sing or dance or whatever they want to feel alive doing. Let's not suppress them. It's too heavy for them.
Pardon me,
Anyways,
Ms.
like I said, next time I'll be more prepared. Thank you for putting up with me. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll have John Parker from Palm Springs.
Great, thank you for the opportunity to speak. To her point, there's a lot of people that are awake right now and waking up. And CRT, I know you're probably not calling it that. Ethnic studies, intersectionality, but it all kind of, excuse me, rolls into the same thing, curriculum. Hot off the press, CDC recommends masks for children in school. There are 75 million children in this country, ages 0 to 18. In the last year and a half, there have been 400 deaths. Now, of course, the way they calculate a death and what really caused it and all that, that's a different conversation. But according to the CDC, of 75 million, there are 400 deaths. And yet, we're going to require children to wear masks. And even worse would be to vaccinate them with what is really an experimental drug. It's not really a vaccine. It hasn't been approved. And yet, that's really where it's going to go. You can't vaccinate under the age of 12 at this point, but we all know that that's probably where it's going to go. And I would agree with other people in the audience, to mask a young child and to vaccinate a young child is child abuse. Now, you can rationalize it, justify it. I'm just following orders. That's what they're telling me to do. That's what I have to do. You know, I mean, I appreciate the situation that you're in. I'm sure it's hard. Some of you might believe that they should wear a mask. Others of you, I'm sure you don't believe that. So I don't envy you. But we are literally almost begging, and we don't like to do that. But please, for the children, seriously, for the children, not the government, not power, not the party, for
Mr.
the
Parker,
children,
30 seconds.
please do away with the masks, stand up, resist. And when they talk about vaccines, the answer is a definitive no. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Reno Barela from Indio.
Good evening, everybody. I really wasn't planning on speaking when I signed that yellow card, but I thought it would just happen. Because, thank God all my kids are all growing. They live in Florida. My grandkids live in Florida. They don't have these same problems. I joke about it, but the things that I see going on right now, if my kids are in the school district out here in Coachella and the things that are, being taught, I know I probably would have been arrested at least 3 or 4 times because there's just no way this could happen under my watch. So I'm kind of here to support the other parents and pretty much reiterate everything John just said. It's just crazy. We all were kids at one time. We knew how to play, how to get along. My mom is red hair, freckles. My dad was Mexican. We grew up in East LA and grew up with a single mom raising 4 little brown babies. Color, race was never, ever an issue to us. She worked at Sears in downtown LA. The baseball team that we used to go to as kids and watch the Sears employees play, it was Hispanic, Asian, white, black. It didn't matter. So you got to think, who's making this an issue? There's a quote I heard the other day, and this gentleman said, yeah, color and race, I find it interesting, but it's unimportant. But if you make it an issue, you got to stop and think, who is making that an issue and why? And like I said, I thank God that my kids are not in school right now. So look to God if you believe in a God, and stand up. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Marcia Harp from Indio.
First of all, I need to say beware of yellow cards. I have no children in school here, but I have been a teacher somewhere for the last 55 years, and mostly in California. As a child, I was administered a vaccination, and it turned into a blood clot. So when they say we need to have our children experimented on because due to vaccinations that were given in years past, we have a healthier society. Not true. Not true. So I beg you, if the statistics confuse you, please try to sort it out so that you know that the vaccine is not for everyone, or actually anyone. And the masks are causing breathing problems, health problems that you have no clue. So please sort out your statistics when you're making these decisions for all these children. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, next we have Julie Suman from Indio.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for hearing us out here. We appreciate you being here, and we appreciate you taking care of our children and protecting our children, because that's your main job. Just briefly, I'm going to be talking about masks mostly because I'm a registered nurse. But the vaccines, they keep saying it's a state of an emergency, but we're not in a state of emergency anymore. And we can't be forced to take vaccines. It's against the Nuremberg Code, and it's the federal law. It's against federal law to force anyone to be vaccinated. But my main concern is our beautiful children. I made some flyers here. I don't know if I can leave these for some of you. It's just from my research. I'll put them right here. Thank you. Basically, children are the worst affected by the masks because they're developing human beings. As a nurse, I'm always the patient advocate. It's my job to be between the doctors and the patients. And I would protect my patients if I saw that something was happening and I needed to, because that's a nurse's main job. Well, I'm not a parent, but our children, we all need to be advocates for our children as well, because they're growing up, they're developing. God bless them. They only know what we tell them. So if we keep telling them to put a mask on, we're teaching them on some level to muzzle themselves. We're teaching them the wrong message. They're not able to see smiles. They're not able to show their smiles. That's got to inhibit them on a social level, on some level. Plus, why are we making them wear masks? Children have a 99.8% survival rate from COVID. Why are we making them wear masks? I just want to beg you and implore you to please consider this and take a stand. We all have conscience. It doesn't help to be going along with the program. We need to make a stand. It's not hard for me. It's not easy for me to stand up here and talk to you guys. I'm not a public speaker. But I want to take a stand for our children, because our children are our next generation. Are we teaching them to be proud and to stand up?
Pardon me, Ms. Suman, 30 seconds.
Thank you. Or are we teaching them to be ashamed and afraid and wear masks when their immune system is probably even better than ours? Our immune system can fight anything. And a vaccine is just introducing more poisons into the system that puts a stress on our immune system. So thank you very much for hearing me out, and I hope you do the right thing.
Okay, thank you. And last but not least, of course, Karen Johnson from Palm Springs.
Good evening. I hope you have had a lovely summer. Okay. Good evening. You've had a lovely summer. It's out. We have all these beautiful clouds in the sky. It's humid out too. Chances are that it's going to be hot all of August. Just wanting to keep that fresh in your minds. I know I spent a lot of time talking about it last time. I would like to take a moment to thank the district for the hard work and dedicated, mindful planning that you put into the start of this school year. As always, you are working to put students first while keeping in mind the needs of our staff and our
Okay, any more cards? Okay, thank you very much. We'll now move on to board member comments. And anyone? Sure.
And I want only to thank the whole comments, the comments that was in the by email, comments in person. Thank you. And we take the whole comment seriously, and that is it. It's my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I too, I want to thank you for coming out, taking your time to come out and talk to us. It's really I appreciate your perspective and hearing your perspective, and I really can't comment on it because we have a Brown Act code for this board. So, but anyways, thanks for taking the time and coming out here. I also want to congratulate Ariana Escobedo from Nellie Kaufman Middle School. She took first place in the school pin design. She got a gold medal from Skills USA, so very well done. And I also want to congratulate Lauren Beeman. Lauren's a basketball player at Desert Hot Springs High School. He was the 5A section for CIF Basketball Player of the Year, so very well done on Lauren's behalf. And then next week, I think we're going to start school. So first, I want to welcome all the new teachers and staff that are going to be beginning your journey with our district. I hope you find it rewarding. And I want to encourage our continuing faculty, keep a new teacher's heart and perspective. Be open-minded, try new things, be willing to take chances. Because one of our commenters said, we need to teach our children that they can do anything they want to do. They can become whoever they want to become. And that's what we work very hard to do. Thanks, that's all I got.
Board Member Terrell.
All right. I want to thank all of our community members from across the valley for joining us here. Everyone is always welcome, and we invite you to come back. And we look forward to hearing all voices from everyone. And welcome back to the parents whose children were in the district. This is an awesome district, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. We also thank the people who wrote in to us. We appreciate those comments as well. On July 15th, I was invited to a Riverside County elected women's leadership meeting. It was hosted by Supervisor Karen Spiegel. She's a trustee from the board for the county of Riverside, and she invited women across the county to a 12 noon meeting, and there were about 28 of us, and we talked about how we can support equity, inclusion, access, and supporting every student in our educational community. And people from La Quinta, the mayor, Corona City, Lake Elsinore, all throughout the county attended this women's meeting. And it's really refreshing to meet new and amazing politicians and women who really care with their heart, like one of you said, to make a difference. And I look forward to ongoing meetings each month, which they will continue to have. Recently, we had a neighbor's cover story with Joan Boyko about family engagement center courses. And someone talked about getting things kind of back to what we used to have, making connections. We have so many classes for parents, 10 things that every parent should know. I think I need to go back before I become a grandparent. They're also doing self-care Sundays. Our Parent Center is working on Sundays, once a month, renewing heart, mind, and body. So proactive and so productive, amazing creative ways to engage our kids and our parents. On early release Wednesdays, the elementary and middle Family Center will run activities with materials, translations, snacks, hands-on projects. So there are good things to come. Trust us. I think that if you see all of what's in the works, you're just going to be amazed. Again, too, our parents continue to listen to our auto dialer messages, and we encourage you to reach out to schools, call administrators. Superintendent Sweezy talked in his letter to welcome back parents about making connections with the district. Call your principals, call your schools, ask questions, and find out what you need to know. We appreciate you doing that. Also, I'm interested in more information about AB 104, requirements for retention, grading. We'll be making some changes coming up, and coursework changes. And of course, I'm interested also in knowing about how many graduates we graduated last year, and what's coming up for this new year. So there's a lot of things we know, we've learned, and we have ready for this new year. And congratulations to this amazing team on all of the hard work that you've put forward to get ready for this upcoming week. Thank you.
Thank you. For my comments this week, believe it or not, I had a completely different set of things to talk about. But I think it's important to talk a little bit about the conversation we're having tonight. I think it's important for everybody to realize that we are all coming at this with the same motivation. We want what's best for all of our kids. We want what's best for our staff. We want what's best for our community. We've made hard decisions over the last year and a half, as well as, frankly, that's what school boards do, is make hard decisions based on those things that we find to be the best thing for as many of our students as we possibly can make things best for. We do look at things like social emotional learning. We do look at and have entire programs around it. We look at social justice and inequity and equity, and how do we do those things for all of our kids? How do we provide those for all of them? We make decisions trying to find the best information, the best data, the best healthcare information that we can find. And I assure you, that is what this board, in my entire experience here, has done repeatedly, is looking for the best information. Not based on where it comes from, not based on what politics it comes from, but based on what is true, what is accurate, what is best for every child in this district and every staff member. It's why we did what we did last year. It's why we closed when we closed. It's why we started reopening when we started reopening. We do listen to the departments of health. We do listen to the CDC. We do listen to different professional sources of that information. And I would encourage all of us to try to find ways to hear the other point of view, because that's why you're here tonight, is to give us your point of view. And I would assure you that we would like the same respect back, that it's important because every one of you that spoke tonight spoke about your passion for your kids or the kids in our community. And I assure you, every person up here ran for office because they wanted to do the exact same thing. We're all coming at this from the same place. Now the question is how do we get there? And we get there together. We don't get there staying on opposite sides of a fence or opposite sides of an issue. We get there by working together and finding the right information together and making decisions together. So as John and the other board members have said, we want you coming back. We want you participating in the process. We need your opinion. We need the data set that you have. It's important to us. So you all need to know you are welcome here anytime, and your opinion is welcome anytime. And our email addresses are all published. You can participate in conversation with us at any time. So, with that, we will move on to the next item, and I believe that would be Superintendent's report.
Great, thank you, President Wood. So it's my honor to get to do Superintendent's report tonight on July 27th, and there are quite a few things that I wanted to update the board and the total community. I want to first just start by saying that I've been working on the 100-day plan of my first 100 days as superintendent, and a big part of that plan has been to have 100-day meetings, at least 100 meetings in 100 days, and Erica has me way ahead of that pace, I can assure you. I've been meeting with many members of the district team, and I've really enjoyed hearing all of their insights into what makes this such an exceptional district. Staff are sharing things that are working well in the district, along with our greatest strengths, and they're also sharing areas of improvement and what they see as the most pressing challenges for the district. I'm also asking them what they think I need to do to be a successful superintendent, as well as asking them for suggestions about others that I should talk to as I conduct this listening tour. So I just wanted to update the board. Those meetings are going very, very well, and it's so wonderful to hear from so many different people across this amazing district. They have great perspective, and I look forward to presenting all of that to the board in October. Also, it was mentioned earlier, the welcome back for our staff is taking place next week. This year we are going to be virtual, and so the welcome back will take place on Monday, August 2nd, and it's going to start at 9 o'clock. It will last a little bit more than an hour, and I know how much our staff every year look forward to the traditional in-person welcome back. But this year we decided it'd be helpful to give staff as much time on their campuses and work sites, again, to welcome each other back to the school year. But I encourage everyone to join us for what is going to be a very creative live and virtual event. So that is coming up next Monday at 9 o'clock. Also next week, I can't skip mentioning the big excitement, which is school will be starting for us next week. So since we first closed in March of 2020, this will be our first reopening of 5 full days a week with full instructional days for all of our students. And so we're very excited to be welcoming back all of our students on Wednesday, August 4th. We've received updated guidance. I talked to you about that in June. So we have received updated guidance from both the California Department of Health and the CDC, as one of the speakers tonight mentioned. And that updated guidance includes things about mask, quarantine time, testing, cleaning practices, hand washing routines, etc. We are making the final changes to our reopening guide, our school safety and reopening plan, which looks like this. So that will be posted here at the end of the week, and so that's for all parents and all students and what they can expect when they return to school. And so we're very excited, as I said, to be welcoming back all of our staff and students starting on Wednesday. The most important prevention measure is that all staff and students will be masked and wearing a face covering while indoors in all school settings. And that we're very pleased that that guidance also includes optional masks outside. So when students are at recess or participating in outdoor activities, they do not have to wear a mask. However, indoors, we will be requiring masks of all staff and students. We're also going to be reinforcing hand washing and sanitizing routines, again, just teaching that good personal health and hygiene, as well as reminding all students and staff to do a personal symptom health check screening every day. In other words, please don't come to school sick, or please don't come to work if you're not feeling well also. When or if there are positive cases, then we will provide the optional testing, contact tracing, and then we will provide guidance for families or for staff members around quarantine procedures, talking to their healthcare provider. One of the changes in California that happened this summer is that it became very clear that all districts need to offer an independent study option for families that do not wish to have their children return to full in-person instruction. So we've been busy this summer with the amazing team in Educational Services preparing the independent study option for our families and students, and there's extensive information available on our website for families that choose that independent study option. I also want to remind families we have Desert Learning Academy, which has always offered an alternative approach to education. It's somewhat of a hybrid approach. We didn't call it that before the school closures, but students come to school 1 or 2 days a week where they interact with teachers and their peers, and then they balance that with independent work time the rest of the week. And that is an optional program. that is very, very high quality, and I encourage families to look at that as an option. We also surveyed families last spring about those who thought they would want to stay in a virtual learning environment. And I'm excited to say that we're going to be opening here this fall our first elementary online school opportunity. So we have some amazing teachers lined up and some students and families that expressed interest last spring. And so they will be participating in an online synchronous instructional platform. So as that program grows, it will start very small, but as that program grows, I will certainly be bringing back information to the board. I also know that the public and the board in the past have appreciated the superintendent to share public health updates, and so I do want to share some of that information with you. We had a meeting with Dr. Leong, who is Riverside County's public health doctor, and he was sharing with us that both the positivity rates and case rates have been increasing. They've increased about 4-fold in the last month, and that hospitalizations in Riverside County have also been increasing. When I reported to you on June 8th, the case rate was 1.6 and had been going down every week. When I'm reporting to you today on July 27th, the case rate is 10.4 and it's increasing every week. One other piece of information to share with you that the doctor shared with us is that in Riverside County, vaccination rates for those over the age of 12 and older is currently at about 48.5% fully vaccinated in Riverside County, and the rate for 12 to 17-year-olds only, so if you just look at what would be our middle and high school students, it's approximately 25% of the Riverside County population, that youth population, is fully vaccinated currently. One other quick comment, as Karen Johnson mentioned the big rain clouds and humidity. I do want to share that with that incredible torrential downpour that we had just the other day, I'm very happy to report that Palm Springs High School, which had some flooding problems in the past, which underwent an amazing reconstruction and regrading of much of the property as an engineering marvel, really what they did there, had no flooding problems whatsoever to report. Unfortunately, we did have a couple of schools that with the amount of rain that quickly did experience some flooding, a few leaky spots in the ceiling or roof, and then one low-lying area at a middle school that unfortunately got water into the building. But the amazing team at Maintenance and Operations have been out making sure that those schools are well prepared for us to start the first day on Wednesday. So I also would like to just echo Mr. Girardi's comments to all of our district staff. The beginning of the school year is an amazing time that is full of so much excitement, so much anticipation, and in a lot of ways, for us, it's new all over again. We haven't been here in a while, and so I just want to encourage every single district employee to please make sure that you are taking care of yourself, taking care of each other, and giving everything you can to every single one of our students and community members, because they deserve it. Again, as Mr. Wood said, that's why we're all here. And I know this is going to be the start to an incredible year, the start of my 32nd year in Palm Springs Unified, and I could not be more excited about where we're headed, and I can't wait to get out there and visit those classrooms next week. So with that, back to you, President Wood. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, on to board action items. 12A, of course, has been removed, so we start with 12B, approval of monitoring report governing policy, operational expectations, communications with public, OE-9, and Mike, I believe you're going to introduce Joan for us?
Yes, absolutely. So a big thank you to Joan for presenting our first operational expectation report for this year. This is OE9, and she has brought this information to you each year, and I assure you this is going to be a great presentation from Joan.
Good evening, President Wood, members of the Board of Education, Dr. Sweezy, members of Cabinet. It's great to be with you, and before I go into the formal report, I'd like to preface my report by saying I really have to say that on 99% of the days, I truly think I have the best job in the district. No smoke blowing, I really truly mean it. I get to tell the stories and share the wonderful programs, projects, activities, and educational talents that are going on in our schools and the great things that our kids are doing. And I'm grateful for the job that I have and that I get to do that great work. All right, there's days that pop up every once in a while that's a little different, but we go with those, and those are okay too, because they make the other days so much better. So that is a preference to communicating with the public, OE9. And one other comment I'd like to say is that, it's kind of like we do these things every year and we just keep doing them, and like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And frankly, as I was going through this report, after I already revised it, I'm thinking, I think this is a little broke and I would like to work on fixing it. And so for next year, I will be working with Dr. Sweezy on maybe a few different indicators and that make more sense and tell a fuller story. So I didn't change anything for this year. I stuck some extra things in, but I didn't make any changes. But I think for next year, we'll work on doing a report that tells a more complete story about communicating with the public. I will not go through, I know you all can read, I will not go through everything. I will just give you the, what do you call those? Highlights. No, yes, but the number 1, 2, 3, and 4, what are those called again, Dr. Sweezy? No, whatever. Okay, number 1 is provide for timely information, appropriate input, and strategic two-way dialogue between the district and the citizens that build understanding and support. Not going to go through interpretations, not going to go through the indicators. I'm going to instead just give you the evidence of compliance. So number 1 is around the superintendent's parent advisory committee. I'm proud to say on behalf of the superintendent that this parent advisory committee it just had its 13th year, and started with Lori McCune, and we've continued it. It's gone really well. The committee allows for the superintendent to hear from our parents on what's working and what's not, for the superintendent and Board of Education member at the first meeting of the year, and some of our other leadership members to share information with the parents, to hear from them, and to have them bring that information back to their sites. So this year, of course, like everything else, the meetings were all done virtually. Interestingly, we did have better attendance at most of the meetings, all 3 of the meetings, than we have in person. And so that told us something. And so Dr. Sweezy, as an incoming superintendent, joined us at the last meeting with the parents, and we chatted about what should this group look like next year, what do you want to see? And what we've come up with is a hybrid program. So 3 of the meetings, they actually wanted to add more meetings. We had 3 this year. They said, let's have a few more. So we're going to have 5 meetings, and 2 of them will be virtual and 3 of them will be in person. So I think that's really positive. Next, we have had, and this was the 9th year we've been doing this, we've had Board of Education members present to the community, outreach with our stakeholders and community members in local organizations. This year we did 12 of those. They were all virtual. The one thing that we didn't do was our legislative breakfast, because it just was the timing was not right. Everybody's heads were in different places. We probably could have done it, but it was kind of, let's just put this off. We do have one planned in person for October 8th. I already have a whole bunch of people that have saved the date and have said, yes, we'll be there. We'll see what happens. So but we're poised well to make that a virtual event if we need to. So right now it's in person, and we're very happy to be able to continue doing that. So our district website has the email address that people can send their inquiries. I get all of those. There's two of them actually. One's info@psusd.us, one's webmaster. And I either answer them or I route them. It also goes, technology's my backup, but usually they just let me go ahead and route them. And every once in a while they'll say, hey, did you see this? Just to make sure. And this year, as to be expected, there were way more emails than last year. It was over 4,400 of them. A lot of them were about COVID. A lot of them were about technology support, which we did have a dedicated email address for that, but that didn't happen right away. So I am very excited, though, to share that I expect that the direct inquiries through our website and to me will go down exponentially next year, and that is not because I'm not going to respond to them, but it's because, and more information will be in your Friday report, but we have just started AI chatbots. So AI, artificial intelligence, and so we just launched it on the homepage. In the first weekend, we had over 20 people that took advantage of that and got the answers that they needed. And the technology site, the technology department has their own, and several of the other departments will soon also have their own. So this is really great. I think it will help. We have a lot of information on our website. It's all there. It's just that it's really hard to find it unless you can ask someone or something like this AI chatbot what I'm looking for. So can you tell I'm excited about that? I really am. Next, we have our weekly radio shows and they're also podcasts. I'm very pleased to share that we have not missed a single week in, I think it's been 6 years, maybe it's been 7. Thank you. Even though we actually started doing them virtually because we just really, nobody was feeling comfortable even with masks, and plus you can't hear very well, being in the same room. So we found a way to record the radio shows and podcasts virtually. And it's not optimal. I really like being in the room with people and seeing them, but it works. So I have my interns. The interns this year, never met them, but they started before school started, and they worked their little butts off all year long, and now they're headed to college, and I hope I'll be able to meet them when they come home for a break. My new interns have already started, and we will be back in the studio as soon as everybody makes sure that that's possible. So very proud of that. And also the Desert Sun Neighbors column, which is Madonna alluded to that earlier about the column about the Family Engagement Center. It's really a great opportunity that the district has each and every week to tell our story, and not necessarily what the Desert Sun can cover and will cover. So that space that they give us in the West Valley and Desert Sands in the East Valley is really a great opportunity. I hope it stays around forever, and quite often we get the cover story and a lot of people read it. So it's a really great opportunity, and thank you to the Desert Sun for that. Our social media presence has continued to increase. You can see the numbers, and I do try to post at least 2 or 3 tweets, whatever you call the Instagram things, and Facebook posts every day. And it's, I went kicking and screaming. I didn't want to do it. I'm doing it, and I have to admit, that's where people are getting most of their news. So, if you can't beat them, join them. And speaking of that, next year, this just happened. I just signed a contract with a new media monitoring organization. It's called Critical Mention. And I had my training today. It's amazing what kind of reports I'm going to be able to show you guys for media that's not only local, but that's all over the place. And it all comes in a great report as often as we want to get it. So it's really, really great. Our family engagement, can't forget about the superintendent's blog. So I believe Dr. Sweezy is going to continue the blog. It went well for Dr. Lyon, and he did post his first one on July 1st. So unless anybody has a reason we shouldn't continue that, it's a great opportunity to communicate with our staff and families and community members. So that's on the homepage of our website. The Family Engagement Center, you guys, I think, are well aware of everything that Ruby Rivera and her team does at the Family Engagement Center. What I've listed here are the groups that she facilitates to help us have that dialogue between our parents and community members and the district, and she does a fabulous job. So I'm not going to go through all those. You can see that. The foundation, and again, looking at some of these, do they belong in this report? Well, I guess they do, because the foundation is another opportunity for us to interface with our community members, to hear what they're seeing, what they're feeling, and how much support they will give us. So the foundation, of course, had to pivot along with everything and everyone else during COVID, and what they focused on was the COVID-19 Relief Fund, and all of their marketing, advertising, and promotion and outreach to families was around that. And then what that evolved into, hopefully you've all seen at least a few episodes of Front Row Center, and that was collaboration between the foundation, MTU, and KSQ. And that show was supposed to go for a certain number of time. It got extended. It went all year long on Sunday nights. They're still running the reruns. And what will happen now is actually specials, and I think David Green's working on a full-fledged musical movie, and that will be televised. So it's all really great. And the outcome of all of that, because all of that has been about, and in every show, it's about protect the arts and save the arts. And there have been a lot of donations around that. And there's an appendix to this report, and you can see the foundation's efforts this year in terms of outreach and the results. Then we get into the auto dialer calls, and there were a lot. There weren't too many attendance ones because we were in a different place, and I think the communication with families whose kids weren't showing up for distance learning was not necessarily an auto dial call. It was more hands-on. But we did send out 3,639 auto dialer calls from the sites and departments. And except for the sites, the majority of them came from the Family Engagement Center and Nutrition Services. And then we also used the system, the Blackboard system, to send direct emails to parents, which we did do more of those than we usually do. And of course, you did that through the mobile app as well. So number 2 is the supplement, which we put out we publish in the Desert Sun and distribute to the sites. So you actually have, the timing is pretty good. You actually have one in front of you that is publishing tomorrow. So we got our early copies. It will be in the Desert Sun tomorrow. So I put an asterisk next to this one. to say that I'm in compliance, but truth be told, not really, because we did not publish the supplement in like for full year. So from the spring of 2020 till the spring of 2021, because frankly, what were we going to publish? I mean, that's the truth. And one of the key issues that we do is in October. That's our accountability issue, where we publish all of the test scores, and reports on how we're doing in all the different areas and comparing it. We didn't have any test scores. I mean, we didn't have any of that. So we will be returning to that. We did return in June with our graduation special that we do every June. And then we have our back to school one now. And then in October, we will do our accountability issue. Okay, and number 3 is about children's progress. And it's about report cards and parent-teacher conferences. Everybody got their report cards. Interestingly, parent-teacher conferences, which were all held virtually, some of the principals reported higher participation than in person, and some of them may be continuing to do that, or maybe offer both options, because some of the parents just found it easier to show up virtually. So they will probably continue that. You'll see the percentages for attendance is about the same at elementary and fell a little bit at the middle school level. And then parent view, participation's up, as you would probably expect in a year like this, so that's really good. Student view participation is also up. Technology worked really hard and made sure that every student had an account, which is really awesome. And then we do survey our parents every year through Panorama, and then we did do it this year. It's pretty much, of course, participation was way down, but the percentages of parents who feel welcome to participate, respected by staff, feel like parents, that staff take their concerns seriously. They're really high, and they're really pretty much the same as last year. They're up a percentage, down a percentage. And then we did do a special survey around distance learning. We had 2,600 parents complete the survey, and 73% responded favorably regarding the family school connection during distance learning. And I believe Jim Pfeffer did review that when he presented to you guys a few months ago, so I won't continue with that. Number 4 is around our communication for district capital projects. And you will see that in the past, and this one, I went back to April 2020 and through this past school year, and you'll see that the small projects were around our marquee projects at all of those different schools, and then the larger projects were around Mount San Jacinto Solar and Rio Vista Solar. And of course, we do our board meeting notifications, for the public hearings. We do the paid notifications for the large projects in the newspaper. And then we do our due diligence with the families that live within 500 feet so that we notify them of what's going on and where they can state any comments or feedback, opposition, whatever. That is my report. Unless you guys have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Good question. Yeah, Joan, in the last one about the letter notification when have major projects, that is sending in Spanish and English or yes in English?
Yes. Brian, do we know that? They are in Spanish as well, right? Those letters? Yes, sir. That comes from facilities. That's why I wanted to check, but yes. We pretty much I'm not going to say pretty much. Everything the district sends home to parents is in both languages. Anybody else? Hey,
Joan, I just saw something coming out from you about Telemundo. Are there going to be more opportunities with Spanish TV?
Yes, and that is one of my goals that I talked to Dr. Sweezy, is to do more with Spanish media in general. But Telemundo they have a couple of dedicated reporters, and one of those guys is pretty new and very interested in education. So yes, we are going to be doing more with them, and I'm going to work with both of the stations to just get more going. So yes.
So much for no comment.
I have a thought. I'm impressed with your study, your survey. You're getting almost 3,000 parents to respond. Maybe with something like a school resource officer, we can use that kind of technique to get the temperature of what the parents are thinking out there, instead of a thought exchange. So anyways, just food for thought.
Panorama. Okay, anything else? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done. Okay, so I'm going to need a motion to approve OE9, the monitoring report.
I'll move that, and
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Great job, John, thank you.
Yep, for sure. Okay, so items 12C through 12H, which is a little unusual for us, all those we're going to do in block. And so that's going to be the adoption of resolutions 2020-2021-58 through 2020-2021-64, finding the projects exempt from the California Environmental Quality Act, and approving the filing and recordation of a notice of exception for the following sites: the District Administration Center, Cathedral City High School, Desert Hot Springs High School, Palm Springs High School, Rancho Mirage High School, and Bella Vista Elementary School. Is there any conversation or questions about any of these items before we go for a motion?
I just want to clarify, you don't have to read each one?
Nope. Can I get a motion? Thank you. And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. All right, 12I, approval of agreement number C 0004086, grant program services agreement with Think Together for the 2021-2022 ASES program, OE 6.2. And I believe we're going to have Dr. Kovacs provide us with a brief summary of this program.
Yes, our Executive Director of Student Learning, Mr. Mark Arnold, is going to share more information and details about the contract, and he worked very closely with our Coordinator of Supplemental Interventions to contract with Think Together, and they support our ACES program.
Thank you.
There we go. We contract with Think Together to support all aspects of our ACES program. So basically, they receive 91% of the ACES grant funds that we receive from the state, and with that, then they implement all aspects of that ACES program and ensure that we're in compliance with all the requirements associated with that grant. So those funds that you see are used to hire the staffing, both the 2 district coordinators as well as the site leads and the support staff at those. So those Think Together staffing are employees of Think Together. They're not employees of our district when we see them in our after-school program. We'd use those funds to support any outside services, like if they had a person to come in to support, to do art enrichment or activities or something along those lines. They use those funds to support any supplies that they need associated with that program, but those supplies will be inventoried at the beginning and end of the year, and those supplies and materials are district property, and they would remain ours even if we were to decide to go with a different provider for our ACES grant. And then they also support all the administrative cost as well. So that's, when you look at that large sum of funds, it all works to support that after-school education and safety program and be in compliance with the aspects of that grant.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Arnold.
And did I hear a question over here?
Yes, Mr. Arnold, I'm sorry. About how many students will be serviced in this Grant?
Yeah, so each of the schools, most of the schools allow about 100 students per school site. There are some variations to that. I mean, there's a couple of middle schools, I think, have a capped enrollment of 85. A lot of that is based on, because we have to ensure that we have those students there and that they are attending regularly. And if they don't attend regularly, we have to adjust so that that maximum capacity, we're getting funded for that maximum capacity of the students that we can get there consistently.
So how often will they be on the school sites for ACES? Every night?
They're up there every night, every
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday, with the exception of, I think they are allowed 3 professional development days, which they can schedule as they see fit. Usually they schedule them around holiday or holiday breaks.
So the people that will be providing these materials, activities, they will be fingerprinted and everything through Think Together, or
Yes,
through us?
through Think Together, yes. And then we ensure that that's happening, but they are fingerprinted through Think Together before they can be hired by that program.
How soon will that be put into place?
I mean, actually, we switched to Think Together now just prior to the pandemic kind of starting. So we have been in partnership with Think Together. It's just last year, obviously, the program was very much modified, and we did have students and families that were involved in it in a virtual capacity, but obviously with it being on-site now, the enrollment will increase dramatically.
So the program will be called ACES Think Together, or just
It's
ACES?
just, they still go to the ACES program, it's just that Think Together is the provider that's supporting our ACES
Oh,
program.
I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
Any other questions? Okay, and I will need a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll make the motion.
And a second, please.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, 12J. Approval of right of entry agreement to construct data collection station with SoCal Gas companies at the Bella Vista Elementary School located in Desert Hot Springs, OE 12.12. Dr. Murray? Did you have a summary for us?
Were there any specific questions with respect to the gas company's study on the campus?
This is that program we talked about before where they're putting the sensor, the water, moisture sensor in the ground.
Correct. It's moisture and temperature. What they want to do is measure the soil around that area because they're interested in possibly modifying some gas pipes.
And it's all fenced off. So
It's all fenced off.
And they have access to
Yeah,
it.
the only entity that really has access to that is our grounds department, and that's to clean out that area on occasion. So it's really something I don't think anybody's going to notice.
I'll move it.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Right, 12K, approval of revisions to board policy BP 5123, promotion, acceleration, retention, OE 10. And, do we?
I'll move it.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, 12L, approval of consolidated application and reporting systems, CARS, for 21-22 OE 6.7, OE 10.1, and OE 10.6. And may I get a motion?
Motion for approval?
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, and last 12M, approval of the Health and Welfare Benefits MOU between Palm Springs Unified School District and California Teamsters Local 911, Teams 1 and Teams 2, OE 4.9. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, and then 12N, and I believe our board clerk, Jarrell, you're going to recuse yourself from this one. Thank you. Approval of certificated and classified employee transactions, OE 4.4. May I get a motion?
I'll move.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, superintendent's consent items. We have, and did we want to have a discussion on one of these? I have on our notes that on 13C. Oh, we did. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so superintendent's consent items 13A through 13I. May I get a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great, okay. Now, board consent items, 14A, approval of meeting minutes from June 8th, 2021. Can we do these all at once? Sorry, yes, we can. Pardon me?
Just do item 14.
Sorry, yes. Items 14A through C. Can I get a motion to approve board minutes for June 8th, board study session minutes from June 21st, 22nd, and board meeting minutes for June 22nd?
I'll move that.
Thank you. And a second?
Second.
Thank you. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Informational items. 15A, first reading of revisions to Board Policy 3452, Student Activity Funds, and 15B, Williams Case Report of Complaints, OE 12, OE 10.12, and OE 12.10. Suggestions for future agendas? Anything?
I just have, I guess they're not agendas, but maybe Friday report requests. Attendance, how things are going. We used to get a summary from principals, like how things were going at the beginning, and a little narrative, what's going well, what's challenged. Not a big report, just a couple lines. Remember that? And then
Yeah.
attendance is really key because I think, that's going to be important.
Lucy was going to go.
And the last thing would be the LCAP. Could I get the most revised revision? Is that possible with modifications? Because we had revised it a couple of times. And if you could send it revised copy number, B or D or whatever, because I think I want to just stay current in what's in there. So thank you. That's all for me.
Okay. Anyone else? Okay, great. Thank you. All right, setting for the next board meeting, regular meeting on August 10th, 2021. Debrief.
Just real quick, I thought we were going to make our study sessions just a little bit more informal. Did we hit a snag with that?
Yeah, we did. So we had talked about moving it, but if we are going to broadcast them, we need to be in this room, and then if we're going to broadcast them, we need to be in this setting for the camera and the microphone. So if we're not going to televise them, which, again, we don't have to, if we're not going to televise them, we could do I know they came in and tried to figure out how quickly they could set up the room, but we wouldn't have the TV or the video camera or the microphones. And we can keep working on it, but it is that's what it was.
I know these bright guys back there, they can figure it out.
They're going to tell you to just take your jacket off. It'll be far more informal.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on debrief?
Thank you for those people that helped the air conditioning happen. That was starting to feel really uncomfortable a little bit earlier. Thank you, Dr. Murray. All right.
Anything else? Okay, we'll move to adjournment. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Thank you. In a second?
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you.